session. Now, I would like to focus on the main topic after clarifying the concepts related to gender sensitization. Now we come to the main point. Need for laws, especially as protection for women. As I had explained earlier in the first session, in order to ensure that your rights reach you, actually, you are able to realize your rights, an institution would be required. Some guidelines would be required. Some arbitration may be required. Therefore, we think of legal system, law, courts, lawyers, petitioners, victims, accused, and discussion, judgments, then followed by whatever the court rules. Sometimes punishment, sometimes fine, monetary form, or both. So, law is required to ensure that the rights that are promised by the state are actually delivered, realized by those for whom these rights are meant. Law ensures that the rights reach the person for whom it is intended. And there are beneficiaries, that's what we mean. The beneficiaries of these laws should really get benefit. They should be able to seek some justice through these laws. So, laws are inevitable as a part of our discussion. Now, how these laws have evolved? Actually, I told you that it originated in thinking that human rights are basic. They are available freely in nature, and nobody should try to deprive anybody from getting those benefits from nature. So this was the thinking behind the United Nations Convention on Rights. They discussed that these rights that are basic should be ensured all over the world. All member states discussed these things and accepted, yes, these are basic rights, and the state's responsibility is to ensure that these rights are available to the people. So, United Nations conventions discussed these issues, and then in 1995, there was a survey. What is the plight of women all over the world? What is the condition of women in family atmosphere, or in work atmosphere, or in the field of agriculture, in the field of education, health, and so on. So surveys were done. I'm particularly quoting from 1995 UNDP survey. UNDP survey, please make a note, UNDP's United Nations Developmental Projects. They undertake surveys. UNDP means surveys. Please remember that UNDP is associated with the international surveys. So surveys were done in India also. Indian government took the responsibility for it, and surveys were done in India also. Conditions of living for women in India were studied. Now, what's the condition? What do the report suggest? You might be surprised to know. Men should make a note of this. By and large, it is the women who work more time than the men. Their time at home also should be taken into consideration. Is not cooking part of that? Cleaning the house is not part of that. Bringing up the children is not part of that. Taking them to school is not part of that. So if you take all these things, women work more than men. I want the reaction of men. I see very few of them here. Men should be able to give the answer. What do you think? Unless you are sharing the household work of the woman at home. If you share, yes, that also should be taken into consideration. But if you are arguing about all these things, have you done this, have you done that, have you readied the children, have you fed them, and all this, mere asking questions, it becomes supervisory role. But actual field work is done by the women themselves. Therefore, it's the women who do more work, who take more responsibility, but in turn paid less. They are not paid for many of the things they do at home. It is free service. They think that it is the woman's responsibility to run the home with no wages, with no rewards. Running it satisfactorily is itself a reward. That's all. This is what the UN Economic Survey is reporting, not me. And health, from the point of view of health, who maintains cleanliness at home? And even the clothes that the men wear, perhaps it is the woman at home who has washed it and ironed it and given it to him. He may even forget to change. It is you who have to give a fresh set of clothes. And what is this? You have been wearing the same thing. Come on, change it now after bath. She goes to such an extent as to maintain cleanliness at home. Don't listen to this as a story. These are facts of an UN survey done all over the world in all the nations, including India, and these are the reports, points. And then I'm giving you some examples. In food production, who works more in the agricultural field? Sometimes, because of their poverty, the farmer is unable to get bullocks. So, the woman plows, the woman draws, and the man plows. She works like the bullocks, pulling the plow in the agricultural field, sowing, she does it. We have seen often women, planting the seeds. And even at the time of harvesting, who bears the brunt of the produce to be loaded to a gadi or a truck or a tractor or something like that? Usually, it's the women. And even sorting them out, or what do they call? Seeding them out or what? Making the seeds separate from the fruit and all that kind of things. They do. Even out of the waste, sometimes they weave baskets and bags and things like that, which men do not do. So even in terms of food production and use of wastage for some utility, it's the women who have been doing this job, according to the report. And who stays in the rural area most? Most of the men who do not work in the field, they go in search of jobs. Maybe they work as laborers in some factories, they go to factories and come back. Who stays in the village, who stays at home is mostly the women who spend more time. So the rural touch you find more among women than men. Many men today, as soon as they find time, they come to the cities. seeking pleasure. But women stay at home. So women understand the intricacies of rural living better than men. So they are the unrecognized, unorganized, real workforce in our setup. Unorganized, unrecognized, even unpaid. So women play a more important role in socio-economic life of people in India, especially in the rural areas. So they are less privileged, less paid, and they get less medical aid. Recently, in our state, we had a demonstration by rural women about lack of maternity benefits, lack of hospital in the area. Especially delivering became a big problem for women. They had to go to the nearest taluka hospital, and sometimes, the birth took place on the way in a gadi. They had to take the woman to a nearest tree and then see that the delivery is done. Nobody had to attend to, no medical facilities. So they asked a question and they met a minister, ex-minister. I do not want to name all those people, but met the minister. He is representing this thing as an MLA still. He was a minister before, but he is now an MLA. So asked him, see, we have no maternity hospital here. For the past 20, 25 years, we have been trying to get a medical hospital here and no medical hospital anywhere around. So why don't you provide one? He is reported to have said what we read in the newspapers on TV programs. Do you know what he said? Oh, why are you worried, madam? Next time you deliver, come to me. I'll arrange for it. Now, is this the reply a politician is supposed to give when they ask for a hospital, maternity attention? This is the attitude even to this day. Naturally, gender sensitization is absolutely necessary for such men. Do we take their pleas lightly? Is childbirth an easy process? Is it a matter of joke? Is it a fun? Only a woman knows what the pain is. When will men understand? Let alone appreciate. When do they understand the plight of women? And sometimes they have to cross. Now, everywhere floods in North India and North Karnataka also. And imagine a sick lady or a pregnant lady has to go to the nearest hospital crossing the flooded river. Even boats are a risky raid. Sometimes on foot they cover. Or they take some, what we call, that round boat like, what in Kannada we call it a step up. So in that, they take the women and children to school, women to the hospitals. Still, we are not appreciating the problems that women, especially in rural areas, are facing today in terms of education, in terms of health. Education means at least children's education, not their education. Children's education. How many children have lost their life? How many sick women have lost their life because lack of medical facilities? So this is what the UNDP report is pointing out. Make a note of this UNDP report, especially 1995. I'm quoting from 1995 report. I don't know how to get the latest report. It's not easily accessible. Maybe it is in some government department somewhere, I don't know. But at least I could get 1995 report. I read it and I have drawn some points from that. And who are the victims of violence in the rural areas? Mostly these the women and children. They become the victims because they cannot defend themselves. They don't get help in time. No police around. No police around. No police station around. So they are subjected to a number of discriminations. I can go on listing them here. I do not want to take more time. Therefore, I am just quoting some instances where women continue to suffer even to this day. They continue to suffer. This is the plight of women reported. Therefore, it becomes absolutely necessary for laws and see who violates the laws and punish those who violate the laws. Accountability is necessary. So laws help us to maintain this accountability. Therefore, the importance of laws for protecting women. Now, they're realizing this after the UN discussions and conventions and all. A number of conventions have been held by United Nations on women, plight of women. So, based on these discussions, we have the Constitution of India. The Constitution makers, and those times only, were aware of the plight of women, therefore included the Article 15 within brackets 3. Article 15 subsection 3 exclusively talks on protection of women. Need for laws for protection of women. Constitution talks about it. So these human rights of women are reflected in the Constitution itself. Constitution of India talks of this. Please remember this. In a police station, a constable may not be aware of this. But you should be aware of this and make him aware of this. Otherwise, who will implement the law? He is the one, the police constable, who implements the law. He needs gender sensitization. So, from the Constitution of India flows the other laws. Broadly, they can be classified as criminal laws and civil laws. Civil laws is mainly about disputes among the members of the society, about property, land, facilities, projects, economic distribution, and so on. Criminal laws talk about the crime that is perpetuated against the members of the society. Criminal laws for women talk about violation of human rights of women. So they are in the form of law. Therefore, violation of this law, violation of human rights are both. Remember this. Many of women's rights are in the form of laws. That means do not. Both are there. Do this, don't do this. That is what law says about women. What should be done, what should not be done by men or even by other women on any victim or possible victim. Do and do nots. Law reflects do and do nots. And violation, that's why, that is the importance of crime. In civil law, only compensation or damage. But whereas in criminal law, it is punishment, physical punishment, imprisonment. If it is minor, fine may be levied. If it is severe, imprisonment. Until it is decided, they can be given jail or bail. Jail for those who are facing investigation. They are called under trials. Till the matter is decided, you have to presume them to be innocent. But they are under police protection or court protection, judicial custody or police custody till the case is decided. They may be let off, maybe for an emergency, wife is sick or mother is sick or some family problem, so they may be given bail. Or their own medical condition requires it, therefore bail may be given. But under certain conditions, they lay down conditions, then bail is given. Bail is not permanent. It is for a particular period, for a particular purpose. But when it is proved, punishment is there. Please remember, women members who are attending this, please make a note. Your rights should not be violated. If it is violated, you can go to court. And if it is proved, person who has violated can be put into jail. You are not asserting yourself. You are not asking for it. Until you ask for it, you will continue to suffer. That is the importance of law. That's why we require law. Because if you don't do this, then society, through the court, can punish you. Physical punishment, such as imprisonment in a jail, hard labor in a jail, isolated living, that is, sole person is put in a jail, uncommunicable to any person. He can't talk to anybody. He goes mad. Such a punishment, nobody likes it. Imagine locked up in a prison with nobody to talk to. Even food is through a window, pushed into. That's all. So such severe punishments are also prescribed, but you are not aware of it. And you think that we are women, so we are all bound to suffer. God has made this, and therefore women have got to get tears. That is natural. We have to cry, natural. Suffer, it is natural. So we have to bear with it. So you are suffering it on your own choice. But laws are there to protect you. Please remember that. Laws will protect you if you seek it. If you don't seek it, how to give you protection? And men have become aware of this. And many times men have changed themselves so that they don't attract the law. Even then, men continue to violate law. And they go unpunished because their women, they say, oh, why make my own husband suffer? I don't want to see my husband go to jail. So they excuse their men. Therefore, lack of punishment. And as long as there is no threat of punishment, we don't change our behavior. It is a sad thing to say that punishment is required to change the behavior. Not necessarily. Through our own understanding, God has given us brains. God has given us the ability to think. God has given ability to see logic. And we have the capacity to establish harmony, good interrelationships, peace in the society. Why not we choose that? Why do we go seek to violence? Why do we become violent? In fact, my hope is that you will all become gender sensitizers. So you go back to your place and please sensitize people around you, both men and women. Please sensitize them. See, this is it. These are the conditions. Why do we have to resort to these conditions? Let us settle it among ourselves. It could be done. Now, this IPC, CRPC, and Indian Evidence Act are called criminal laws. Please make a note. What are criminal laws? Criminal laws are the Indian Penal Code, the old Indian Penal Code, IPC, and Criminal Procedure Code, CRPC, and Indian Evidence Act, IEA. Now, the new names are Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita for Indian Penal Code. For Criminal Procedure Code, Bharatiya Samrakshana Samhita, BSS, and not BSS, BNSS, Bharatiya Nyaya Surakshana Samhita, BNSS, and Indian Evidence Act is called Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyama, BSA. So the new names, but of course, now permission is given by the court, Supreme Court, to use both old names and new names. So conveniently, you can note it as IPC, CRPC, and Indian Evidence Act. These are three criminal laws. For any justification of your case, you should resort to the provisions of these three laws. Indian Penal Code tells you what is an offense, what is the punishment. Offense and punishment. IPC. CRPC tells you how to go about it, how to go to the court, how to file the case, how to inquire, how is the investigation to be done, how is the court viewing the whole thing, then a cross-examination, court judgment. That is CRPC. Indian Evidence Act is the responsibility of certain government officials like the police or forensic science department or medical department, doctors, to collect evidence. Indian Evidence Act is pertaining to evidence. How to collect evidence? Without evidence, it becomes difficult to support your case. So evidence may be in the form of witnesses, human element is involved, or it may be in the form of materials. The knife that was used, the pistol that was used, any object or material that was used in the process. Now, they can all be collected and used as evidences. So, Indian Evidence Act is pertaining to collection of evidences. There are specialists there, for example, forensic scientists. Now, for example, in Manju Dharmasthala, in Karnataka, Dharmasthala is the place where some investigations are going on, and their SIT, Special Investigation Team, is now busy collecting evidence. And what is the evidence? They are mainly bones, because you can't collect the dead bodies. They will have disappeared by now. But the bones will be available, so they are trying to collect the bones and establish. Through the bones, you can establish the history of the person. It's possible. Or you can make DNA tests. All those things are available now. So that is being done through the Indian forensic scientists. Now, in addition to these three laws, special laws have been brought in by the government of India and also by the states. Karnataka state has brought some Domestic Violence Act of its own, while the central government has brought out Domestic Violence Act of its own. So states can also bring in their own laws. They are called special and local laws to supplement these laws. Because violence against women, for example, so many forms of violence. So Constitution cannot list every offense, or Indian Procedure Code cannot list every offense. So some special laws have been promulgated. For example, what happens within the family, violence, it is called Domestic Violence Act. Sexual offense, Daurjanya. So against women, punishing women, harassing women, all these things. So we have Sexual Offences Act. Then we have Prohibition of Dowry Act. Then we have rape, the cases to deal with, laws to deal with rape. So special and local laws are also available. Local laws promulgated by the state, special laws maybe by the state, maybe by the center. So some of these I'm going to discuss with you shortly. There may be special boards also. For example, there is make a note of this, National Human Rights Commission, NHRC. You may lodge your complaint. If police station doesn't take your complaint, you don't have to say, oh, police don't bother about us. It is your fault. If it's your ignorance. If the police do not take cognizance of your complaint, if they don't listen to you, there are many other ways. For example, you can go to the higher police officer. If the police station doesn't take it, if the inspector doesn't take it, you can go to the SP, Superintendent of Police Office, or you can go straight to the magistrate's court. Tell the magistrate, sir, I have been trying to submit my report. The SP is not responding. The police station is not responding. The court will direct the police station to take up the case from you. So you have got such powers, you can go to the court directly. Especially in dowry, in rape cases, you can go to the court directly. Or you can send it by post, registered post acknowledgement due, addressed to the SP or addressed to the police inspector. You can do that. Why can't you go to the post office and send it by registered post, your complaint? You can send it by email. You have the proof in email. You don't need an acknowledgement. Email registers everything. So that is the proof that you have sent it. Today, in the modern technology, you have a number of ways to convey your plea to the concerned authorities. You can write to the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC. There is National Commission for Women, NCW. You can write to National Commission for Women. States have their own Human Rights Commission. For example, we have in Karnataka Human Rights Commission. Then we have Mahila Human Rights Commission in Karnataka. The women have their own commission, and General Human Rights Commission is there. And we have Sahayavani, helplines for women, helpline for children. You can lodge your complaint through the helplines also. Not only this, you have Right to Information Act. Why the police is not giving me a reply? You can ask for information by complaining to the Right to Information Act. Apply for information. What happened to the complaint I had given? Right to Information Act. What is happening in the government? What is happening in the courts? What is happening in the police station? What is the progress? Please let me know. You have got right to information. With this right to information, many chief ministers have been put into lots of embarrassment and difficulties in many states. Do you know that? Common man is not using these things. It is for common man that these facilities are provided. Some politicians, some lawyers may be using it to their advantage or political advantage. But common man has to seek remedies through these lines. You should learn to use these facilities. Then we have in the police manual, police department has got special laws. For instance, we have Police Act 1963, Section 68. Police Act in our state, I am referring to my state, Karnataka Police Act, Section 68 specifically refers to justice for women. And Karnataka Police Manual, for example, they have got Chapter 1, which refers to the principles of police conduct, which refers to, for example, Section 3789, specifically refer to the way women should be treated in the police station. Women should be treated with their complaints. Then we come to special laws that have been provided. Special laws, I told you, domestic violence. We have got Central Domestic Violence Act. We have State Domestic Violence Act. For instance, in our state, we have the Domestic Violence Act. Then we have Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act. Prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. Now, all these laws are required because men and women still have what are known as stereotypes. Make a note of this name, stereotypes. That means this job is for women only. This job is for men only. This title is for women only. This title is for men only. This kind of work only women should do. This kind of women only men should do. Many men, especially in the urban areas and mostly in the rural areas, do not clean toilets. It is the women who do it. Who said that toilet should be cleaned only by women? Did God tell you that? You should reply. You are sitting quietly and please ask me some questions on this. Or you blindly accept it, whatever I say. At least women speak, men do not. You see, you tell me. Who cleans you the toilet in your house? Please tell me, yes or no. Do you clean it? You cannot interact with such participants.
We do.
We do, sir.
Some men do. Some men do. There are enlightened men. I'm not talking about all men. No. But there are still men. You know, we are talking of stereotypes. Stereotype means, stereo means same. Stereotype means stereo is same. Type, same type. That means all women have to do this job. It is the women's job. This is called stereotyping. Women do this. She is a woman, so she should clean it. At the most, it might be delegated to another woman in the house. That's all. Daughter-in-law comes, then the daughter-in-law may be asked to take up the job. But no relief for women as such. Some women have to do this. This is the assumption. These are called stereotypes. Or some pujas only women should do. Some pujas only men should do. Or when some pujas is being done, women should not come. Now, these are all society made. We call them as prejudice against a sex or against a gender. Prejudice. Because she is born as a woman, she has to do it based on sex. Or it is women's job. Who said it is women's job? Which book said that? I don't know. But we always argue, oh, it is women's job. Washing clothes, women's job. Washing the front of the house in the morning, women's job. Sweeping in the house, women's job. Unpaid but fixed jobs. Smoking, of course, in the rural areas, women also smoke. So I have seen them smoking. Some BD or something like that. But mostly, smoking, I think it is referred to men, not women. Drinking, of course, slowly it is changing. Even women have begun to drink. But mostly, it is men. So this is called stereotyping. Stereotyping means that you are fit for something because of your sex. Based on sex, gender difference. Based on sex, gender injustice. Based on sex, gender inequality. How sex can become the basis for gender discrimination. This is another way of distinguishing between sex and gender. Sex becomes the basis, gender becomes the act of discrimination. So, based on the nature of discrimination, we have in IPC violations of individual personal freedom. Not allowed to move, not allowed to go to market, not allowed to go to training, not allowed to go to school, not allowed to go to this house or this meeting or that meeting, all those things. IPC sections are there, 339 to 342, for example, in IPC. It is the same all over India. IPC, all these three criminal laws I have listed are applicable to the entire state of, entire Indian. Not just one state or not just Karnataka. It is applicable all over India. So they are all listed. Offences relate to marriage with regard to women. IPC deals with marriage problems. There comes dowry. Marriage means under that the crime of dowry. Taking dowry is an offence. But remember, taking gift at the time of marriage, they have excluded from dowry. So nowadays, they don't give dowry, they give costly gifts. What does it matter? So you have to think whether giving gift, should it be called a dowry or not? Because dowry should not be given. Now they are giving gifts. The same thing. So should gifts also be banned? We do not know. Discussions are going on. But at present, gifts given at the time of marriage to the bride or the bridegroom is not dowry. So it is not an offense. Giving gift, costly gifts is not an offense at the time of marriage. But conditions are laid. Somebody should sit next to the bride and the bridegroom, bride side, bridegroom side. And whenever a gift is given, they have to make a note of the gift. Who gave the gift? What is the nature of the gift? What is the value of the gift? Should be noted. Date of the or time of the gift. And at the end, if there is a raid by police or somebody against the acceptance of gifts, they should give a list. See, these are called not dowries, these are called gifts, and we have not committed any offense. We have only received gifts, that's all. And if it is proved that it was given on the occasion of the marriage, and the list is given, and whatever is due to the bride is given, not that you take away all the gifts from the bride side also to your custody, no. Bride's gift should go to the bride, bridegroom's gift should go to the bride. Any gift to the bride, please remember, in the olden days, there used to be what is called Stridhana. Stridhana was a sort of security for the bride when she goes to a new place, to a new home. So this money in her name, in her possession, was a security for her. If ill-treated or if thrown out, she would make use of this money. So Stridhana, that was a part of the marriage agreement in those days. Now that slowly disappeared. Any dana that comes to the family would go to the bridegroom, not to the bride. That is wrong. Gifts given to the bride should belong to the bride. If anybody else takes it away, because we have the list, and if you complain, all those gifts will have to be given back to the bride. If not given, punishable by imprisonment. Please remember this. I don't know whether you will remember or not, but please do try to remember. Any gift given to the bride should be part of the Stridhana for the bride. And if somebody takes it away, husband might take it away. Father-in-law, mother-in-law might take it away. If you complain to the authorities, those gifts should be given back to the bride. Failure to do that will entitle punishment. That is the beauty of the law. They will go to jail. So these are some of the laws related to women in IPC. But particularly, I would like to draw your attention to violence. Particular violence is because woman spends most of her time at home on domestic matters, quarrels take place, fights take place, there will be violence. Therefore, women become easy victims of violence at home. That is called domestic violence. Domestic violence is the violence or cruelty to which a woman member is subjected to. I hope you understand what is domestic violence. Domestic at home. Violence at home. That is called domestic violence. And most of the victims of domestic violence are women. Easy thing is get out of the house. Go back to your father's house. Finish. Go back to your house. Don't come here. Don't stay here. Go back. Unless you bring this, don't come back. That is part of domestic violence, becoming a victim because you have not brought certain things from your parents' house. So, usually violence at home, domestic violence, may be verbal abuse, mostly by the mother-in-law or sisters-in-law. Okay, we should not have brought you here in marriage. We should not have established marital relationship with your family. Your father is like this. Your mother is like this. They cheated us. You cheated us. You are unfit to be my son's wife. These are all the allegations. Verbal abuse. And you don't conceive, you don't give children, oh, it becomes worse. What a barren lady we have brought to our house. Suppose you give birth, but not to a son. Oh God. So we don't have a son to celebrate our progeny and what to do with these daughters. It becomes a burden. More the daughters, more the burden. Sometimes 2, 3 children continuously become, females. Oh, the plight of that woman, God only knows. She's sent back, thrown out of the house, along with her 3 daughters. Line by line, they follow. No man is sent with his children like that out of the house. It is the woman who was sent out of the house, not the man. If there is no in-laws and only husband and wife and children are living, a woman might become bold enough to throw her husband out. She'll become bold enough to throw him out. It is the in-laws, who help. Recently we had cases, you have read it in the papers. Both in-laws were watching when the son was stabbing his wife. Do you remember? You must have seen in the TV. I don't remember the name and the place. They were watching, the parents-in-law. Finally, they have also been arrested for domestic violence. So, domestic violence may be verbal, oral, by mouth, language, bad language may be used, or allegations. Maybe you are barren, you cannot produce children, you are unfit to be a wife, etc., etc. Or it may be physical. They might hit, or they might deprive her of something that she needs. For instance, for a new Ugadi or Deepavali or something like that, everybody is buying a new saree. No new saree for the daughter-in-law. They don't buy. Deprivation, or not feeding her properly. Not feeding her properly. or she has to eat last, whatever is remaining. It may be sexual, especially by the husband, ignoring her, not taking care of her, depriving her of medical facilities required for her at the time of pregnancy or something like that. Medical attention is deprived. It may be economic, not giving her money, taking away whatever money she has, not allowing her to spend, even for herself, like that. And this might force the woman, the daughter-in-law, to retort or to punish herself. And suicide is the worst form of punishment that she does, taking away her own life. And still bad is taking away the life of her children also. Put the children into the well and jump herself into the well. That is the worst tragedy. It amounts to murder in law. Please remember, even if the husband has not forced his wife into the well.
नहीं लगा रहे किसी को भाई.
If they fight and she goes and jumps into the well, then it is part of the domestic violence, and husband watching this becomes accused. He might be arrested. Domestic violence is also related to dowry. Therefore, dowry death also should be included here, and we should discuss this also. Dowry death is one, voluntary. Just because you have not brought dowry, your in-laws might harass you and you get so much depressed that you commit suicide. Now that suicide becomes part of dowry death. Any girl within 7 years of her marriage commits suicide, it should be presumed as dowry death. This is in law. Domestic Violence Act, Dowry Death Act. Any young bride after marriage, within 7 years of marriage, commits suicide, should be presumed as dowry death. That is what law says. And husband is held responsible. Next, collaborators, in-laws. Please remember that. The presumption is that it is the husband who is directly responsible, and in-laws or some relatives are collaborators. They are treated as collaborators in the offense. Direct responsibility on the husband. Collaborative responsibility is on the relatives. So, every dowry death case should be carefully investigated. Every police officer, every medical doctor, every forensic scientist is warned to do his duty carefully and collect the evidence properly. And the statement that a dying woman makes at this time is very, very important. She has set fire onto herself. Immediately she is admitted to the hospital. She is surviving. You know, up to 80% of burns, she takes time to die. If it is more than 80%, she might die immediately. But if it is less than 80%, she might live for some hours or some days, or we don't know, she might even survive, depending upon the degree of burns. But 80% is dangerous. Simply put, it is more than when it goes beyond the neck region, when the fire consumes the head, everything is gone. So up to this is 80%. So the statement she makes, and another point is that you should remember, in most of the burn cases, when it is less than 80%, the woman will be conscious. She can even talk. Therefore, her statement becomes very important. She can make a statement. But sometimes, some weak situations, she might not be able to speak, but she can make gestures. Suppose she says like this, that means, pointing to her husband, she says like this, the husband has caused my death. That is the meaning. It should be recorded. How she showed the sign, to whom she signaled, and what is the meaning of it. Should be recorded by the doctor. If doctor is not present, it is the police. Police should not record it on their own. Please remember this point, very important. Police inspector cannot sit and record. No, because he is the investigation officer, he cannot record it. He should make somebody to record it, and he becomes a witness. Preferably, a doctor should be there till she loses her consciousness or till she dies. Whatever she says, whatever signals she makes, whatever signs she makes should be recorded. And women, at that time, when she's dying, she can make a very meaningful language to signs and gestures. Women are specially capable of this. They make signals, gestures, which carefully recorded can give you the history. Who did what? So, importance of dying declaration in dowry cases. Importance of dying declaration in medical dowry cases. The very important conclusions you can draw from this statement. Court values it very much. Dying declaration is very important for the courts. See, I'm reading of dying declaration should not be done by the police officer in his handwriting. The presence of a doctor or of an other assistant may be made use of in this procedure. Preferably in her own mother tongue, it should be recorded. In her own language, it should be recorded, preferably in her mother tongue. If she can attest it by signature, get her signature. Otherwise, get her thumb impression on the declaration with witnesses. So I have taken some examples, domestic violence, in rape cases, for example. Last point, rape cases. See, the most important evidence at the time of rape. She may become unconscious, or she may lose her sense of balance. She may not remember anything. And there may not be any assistance to help her also. No assistance, no police around, no public members. So many things can happen. Now, anything that is available at this place where the rape took place, the condition in which the woman was found, are two important areas for investigation for police. Remember that. So those who rush to the scene, they should avoid destroying the scene. Crime scene, we call it as crime scene. Crime scene should be protected. Immediately somebody should take a rope or something like that and seal off the whole place and ask public not to come in. Any sensible person should do this, not necessarily police. Take a rope and close the area. You yourself should not go in cross that area. Protect the area, scene of crime. It's called protecting the scene of crime. And the condition in which she was found. In this, very important things are, number one, her dress. You know what they do in rural areas or even in some traditional families? Oh, this happened. Oh, my goodness, you have become impure. First, get rid of those clothes, burn those clothes, wash those clothes. You should not burn or wash those clothes. Preserve those clothes. Please make a note of this. At least you advise people who are in trouble and tell them this, what precautions they should take. These dresses should be carefully guarded. You know, in Darshan's case, our film actor in Karnataka, who is facing the trial now, and his clothes were washed. And the argument was that they have been washed, therefore it's no use for forensic science. Now, science has proved that even when the clothes are washed, you can make DNA analysis for sperms. Washed clothes also. Very important. Don't do away with these clothes. Clothes as they are should be preserved for forensic examination. The simple thing, simple precaution, our people do not follow. They get ideas of impurity and other things and ask her to have a bath. She should not have a bath. Please, this is another important point. She should not have a bath until the examination is completed. But it's difficult because she feels bad, she feels impure, so she wants to have a bath. Request her and persuade her to wait till the examination, medical examination is over. Doctors will say, okay, now you go ahead and have a bath. They themselves will advise you. Wait. And then watch your body yourself. If you can't do it, your close relative, your mother or your brother or somebody who is very close should examine, even if you are not conscious, they should examine the body of the victim, because she may have fought with the person. While fighting, she may have scratched him. While scratching, his skin cells may have been attached to the fingers, especially the nails. So, forensic scientists will, collect samples from the finger edges. They will give the indication of the identity of the person. DNA examination. So like that, there are and any bruise, anything, blood oozing out, even if the blood has dried, try to collect it, draw the attention of the person. It may have fallen on the ground. Draw the attention of the forensic scientist. Here is a blood sample. Please collect it. So try to protect the scene of crime to the best of your ability. Help the investigation officers to make use of them, and thus try to identify the person who has committed this crime. And court views rape as a serious crime, punishable by even death sentence. These are the important points that you should try to note. So, I pointed out some of the important elements in these acts and how even public should cooperate with the investigation authorities so that the culprit can be booked. And don't accept it as your fate. Nobody is destined to be raped. It's an accident. And not the end of your life. Advise the victim to face the situation survive and establish herself again to live. It's not, you have not committed the crime. It is somebody else who has committed the crime. Why should you pay for it? Let him pay for it. Help the government to find the culprit. Don't allow him to go scot-free. But important point is, please do not forget this one precaution. You should not have consented for his sexual advances at any stage. At any stage, if you say, okay, do whatever you want to, if you have said that, you are finished. Consent is a very important element here. If you have consented for sex, there cannot be a rape case. Directly or indirectly, involuntarily, or by just casually, you may have said, okay, do it, whatever you want. I don't care. If you have said that much and there is some witness for it, gone. You should not have consented. This is sex without consent is a rape. That is the definition of rape. And also remember, rape need not necessarily be contact with the sexual organs of man and woman. They need not even touch. If he has taken a pencil and pushed into her organ, that would amount to rape. Any attempt to violate her personal nature, you have no business. If somebody has done it to your organ, what would you have done? Somebody should cut off. Then what would happen? Do you accuse the person as raping him? Personal liberty, dignity should be maintained. No object, no personal approach should be encouraged in the name of sex. Showing even blue photographs can contribute to the accusation of rape. Prohibited photographs, showing her the photo prohibited, but forcing her to see. Even that, not main rape, but contributing to rape, encouraging rape. Somebody else may get encouraged, and in a gang rape, that's what happens. Somebody encourages and somebody does it. And in a gang rape, everybody is accused individually. Suppose it is to murder, then if 6 people are involved, each person is to be hanged. Individual punishment is given as if it is done individual, even if it is a gang rape. Please remember this. Now, these are all the essential provisions of the Indian Penal Code with regard to some of these laws and special laws that have been brought out, like prevention of rape and domestic violence or dowry deaths and so on. I have given these examples and told you the importance of law and how victims, especially women, should make use of these laws in case of becoming victims, or in case you come into contact with victims, help them with these laws. And police should take care, medical doctors should pay attention. This should be viewed as a serious case by all those concerned from the government agencies. Now, questions. If you have any questions.